Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a headache so strong that it didn't feel like a normal headache anymore? Maybe it started with a small pressure behind your eyes. Maybe light suddenly became too bright. Maybe even normal sounds started feeling unbearable. And then, slowly, the pain increased. You couldn't focus. You couldn't think clearly. You just wanted to lie down in a dark, quiet room. And at that moment, you probably thought, why is this happening to me? If this sounds familiar, you are not just dealing with a headache. You may be experiencing migraine. And here is something very important you need to understand from the beginning. Migraine is not just pain. It is a neurological condition that affects how your brain processes signals. And in this video, I will explain exactly how it works, why it happens, and what you can actually do about it. So stay with me until the end, because understanding this can change how you handle these attacks completely. Merhaba ben Dr. Yusoka. Now, let's break this down step by step, because migraine is one of the most misunderstood neurological conditions in the world. Many people think it is just a strong headache, but that is not correct. Migraine is much more complex than that. Migraine is a neurological condition characterized by recurring episodes of moderate to severe head pain, often accompanied by sensory disturbances. But the key point is this: migraine is not only about pain, it is about how the brain processes sensory input. During a migraine attack, the brain becomes hypersensitive. Light feels brighter, sound feels louder, smells feel stronger. Even movement can worsen the pain. This is not imagination. This is a real change in brain processing. Migraine does not usually start suddenly at full intensity. It often has stages. Some people feel early warning signs like fatigue, irritability, neck stiffness, food cravings, difficulty concentrating. Then comes the headache phase. Pain usually starts on one side of the head, but it can spread. It may feel throbbing, pulsating, pressure-like, or sharp. And during this phase, the brain becomes extremely sensitive. Now let's go deeper in a simple way. Your brain is full of nerve networks and blood vessels. During a migraine, these systems become unstable. There is a wave of electrical and chemical changes in the brain. This affects pain pathways and sensory processing. That is why normal stimuli feel overwhelming. It is not just pain, it is a full sensory overload state. Now let's talk about triggers. Migraine is often activated by certain factors. But important point, triggers are not the root cause. They are only the switch. Some common triggers include lack of sleep, stress or emotional tension, bright or flashing lights, strong smells, hormonal changes, skipping meals, caffeine changes, dehydration, weather changes. Each person has a different pattern. That is why migraine feels unpredictable. But it is not random. Now listen carefully. Migraine is not just a headache condition. It is a brain sensitivity condition. And that means something very important. The goal is not only to treat pain. The goal is to reduce brain sensitivity and prevent triggers from activating the system. During a migraine attack, the brain's processing system changes. Normally, your brain filters unnecessary sensory input. But during migraine, this filtering system weakens. So everything comes in at full intensity. That is why normal room light feels too bright. Normal conversations feel too loud. Everyday movement feels uncomfortable. This is not psychological. It is neurological overload. This is very important. A normal headache is usually mild and generalized. Migraine is different. Stronger intensity. Often one-sided pulsating pain. Sensitivity to light and sound, nausea, or vomiting in some cases. Worsening with activity. Understanding this difference is important for proper management. Many people rely only on painkillers. Sometimes they help temporarily, but they do not address the root mechanism. Because migraine is not only pain. It is brain activity changes. So the goal is not only to block pain. The goal is to reduce attack frequency and brain sensitivity over time. Now, here is a key question. Why does migraine keep returning? Because the brain has learned a pattern. If triggers repeatedly activate the system, the brain becomes more responsive over time. This means less tolerance, faster activation, stronger symptoms. But this pattern can be changed. When a migraine starts, the goal is not to fight aggressively. The goal is to reduce stimulation. First, go to a dark, quiet environment. Second, stop unnecessary sensory input. No bright screens, no loud sounds. Third, rest in a stable position. Let the brain reduce overload naturally. Although migraine is neurological, stress can worsen it. Slow breathing can help reduce nervous system activation. This does not stop migraine instantly, but it can reduce intensity. Now let's talk about prevention. 1. Consistent sleep timing helps stabilize brain activity. 2. Dehydration can trigger attacks. 3. Skipping meals can destabilize energy balance. 4. Chronic stress increases brain sensitivity. 5. Each person has unique triggers. Tracking patterns is extremely important. Now let's bring everything together. Migraine is not random. It is a predictable neurological sensitivity response. And that means, if you understand your pattern, you can reduce your attacks. Migraine is not just pain. It is a brain system that becomes temporarily overactive. And while it cannot always be completely eliminated, it can often be controlled and significantly reduced. If you are dealing with migraines, I want you to understand this clearly. You are not imagining it. You are not exaggerating it. This is a real neurological condition. And with proper understanding and management, it can become much more controllable. If this video helped you, support the channel by liking, subscribing, and sharing your experience in the comments. Because your experience might help someone else who is struggling with the same condition. And remember, understanding your body is the first step to controlling it. This is Dr. Yusoka.